Hey, I had an afterthought, and there is a supplement out there that gets heavily advertised. I'd like to say a few words, and this is going to be at the end of the program. Have you ever gone into a room and forgotten why you've done that? Of course you have. Everyone has. But have you ever thought that you might be losing your mind? Well, stay tuned and we'll get the real facts on what that is. Dementia. It affects a lot of people and costs the U.S. economy billions of dollars. And we can't help but have that thought when we walk into a room and we wonder why we're there. Gosh, do we need memory foam inserts to remember what we're doing? No, it's simpler than that. For most people, this momentary forgetfulness is a matter of simple encoding. We fail to encode what is important for us to do when we get into that room. And I'll have some videos at the end of this video for you to take a look at. If you're over age 50 and have ADD, I think it's probably a pretty usual thing where you have the thought that, oh my gosh, am I starting to lose my mind? And that evokes visions of dependence. And no one ages and wants to be dependent on family members. And we create this horrific vision of what the demented older person looks like and their massive care needs that they will certainly have. Alzheimer's robs a person of their very soul. They will cease to remember their kids. But there's some good news here that ADD is equivocally not a precursor for Alzheimer's or for other types of dementia. That being said, if you live long enough, everybody will experience some degree of dementia. Let me tell you about one of the oldest people I ever treated. Doug was a 99-year-old who was depressed, and you have to be very careful with medications with somebody who classifies as old. But Doug was a brilliant guy, and we got him through his depression. And whenever you get to be that age, you're going to lose people along the way, including some of your kids. And indeed, that had happened for Doug. Well, Doug, at 102, used the internet. He had been a naval commander in World War I, and he was still writing articles published in national journals. He used the internet, which is so uncommon for many older adults, and he found it kind of a time suck. Doug knew intrinsically what it took to keep his brain healthy. I follow Rudy Tanzi, who is one of the premier researchers on dementia, and he's an absolutely brilliant guy. He was the co-discoverer of a specific gene linked to Alzheimer's. And if you ever catch anything by Dr. Tanzi, he puts out some good stuff. In looking at the research of what works and Dr. Tanzi's research, there are three things that can help you forestall the potential of, and we all pretty much want to have a good brain. Maybe our worst fear is not physical immobility, but mental compromise. The first thing is exercise. Exercise very simply does a lot of good things for the brain. But what it kicks off is something called neurotrophic growth factor, which causes the brain to make more neural connections. And when you have more connections being made, you have a healthier brain that's more robust, and it forestalls that decline on a structural basis of the brain. Every day we lose brain cells. That's a simple reality of aging. But you have a way to build them back. It also is a really good preventative for depression. And what we know about depression is depression in all of its forms is neurodegenerative. And by this, we know that we have degradation of neural connections when people get depressed. Exercise does a wonderful job in addressing some of the physiological concerns that arise with it. It's also a wonderful treatment for depression. The problem in treating people who have depression is if they're severely depressed, they initially don't have the energy to be able to do it. The other thing that is really helpful is a Mediterranean diet. And this consists of olive oil and nuts and whole grains and things that are pretty tasty when you get down to it. But these do a lot to preserve the brain, limiting red meat. And I'm an admitted carnivore. I like a good steak, but I don't have it every day. I limit the amount of red meat that I eat in the course of my life. So these are things that you can have some control of in terms of your diet and your exercise. This is a marvelous intervention on becoming demented. And this is dementia in any of its forms. And that's cognitive challenge. Our brain is not unlike a muscle. It's a use it or lose it proposition. And going back to Doug, and he was certainly one of the favorite people I've met. Doug had memorized the poem Paul Revere's Ride, which, if you know it, goes on for 3 or 4 pages. And why did he do this? He did this for the sheer mental challenge and exercise of his brain. He constantly read. He constantly was learning new things. And I'm a proponent of being a lifelong learner. I am one myself. But these are all things that really service your brain. And what happens with new learning is you make new neural connection. And this is an exceptional thing in terms of preservation of cognitive functioning. We look at various musical artists, and with some exception, they tend to be done with their creative process by around 35. You know, I find it sad to see these groups who were once really famous doing the casino circuit and doing the same music they did when they were, you know, a hot band and everybody wanted to go to big concert halls to see them. And then you take a person like Paul Simon, who is cognitively brilliant and keeps pushing the musical edge well into his 70s. And it's a factor of really pushing yourself to stretch. What about learning a new language? Boy, you're going to form some new neural connections there. There are lots of ways to stretch yourself cognitively. It may be taking different routes as you drive to and from work. For those of you still driving to work, it might be taking on a new challenge or teaching yourself to do something. For this platform, I taught myself how to edit videos. I taught myself how to do graphics. These were things I didn't know before I started this YouTube channel. If this video has been helpful for you, I want you to thump that like button. And the bigger thing is pass this along to other people. Other people have concerns for their well-being as well. And it's about really getting good information out there in the world. If you want more of this, you don't need me to tell you how to do that. You know where the button is and you know how to hit it. So this is J.H. Glade for Coaching ADD, and I will see you next week when I launch another video. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Take care. Let's talk about something called Prevagen. And this is a supplement that is widely advertised on TV. It's not a great supplement at all for cognitive function. The things that you should be aware of when buying what is called a nootropic supplement are formulas that lack essential vitamins. The brain needs a steady supply of neurovitamins and nutrients so it can function properly. And so any formula which doesn't have a complex of B vitamins, C vitamins, vitamin E, magnesium, choline, and zinc, avoid it. And if it's not backed by a doctor, it requires a really solid understanding of the chemistry and neuroactivity of medications. So avoid brands that are not supported by a credible doctor. I always get alarmed if I see a really funky return policy, if it doesn't have 100% money back guarantee, or the refund properties are kind of difficult to understand, then it's a pass. And don't depend on Amazon reviews. You know, there are millions of unverified reviews and 99.6 of them being 5-star reviews. This is a real scam because people are paid to write these things, and they're just not good things. Now, Prevagen has a number of problems, and boy, they advertise the heck out of it. It doesn't contain a couple of the key ingredients, much less the essential vitamins and nutrients that you really need in there. There are really specific FTC and FDA legal issues related to false claims for this product. It's also very expensive, and the return policy is limited, and it's only limited to 45 days. This is one that is a pass. Rating of the predicted effectiveness is 5.6 out of 10. And this comes from a site called Review Scout. This is a highly trusted health and wellness site. If you are interested in me doing a deeper dive into what supplements actually do have an impact on brain health and cognition, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be happy to put these together. I do take a brain supplement myself. We'll see you next week, and take care. Bye-bye.